I say that. Uh-oh, I better watch my mouth now. I say that because it's an intro. So my goal for you today is that you leave here excited and that you give yourself enough grace to understand you won't be an expert. You won't be an expert, which is okay because you guys have all done this before, right? Everybody went to real estate school. Maybe not. Did this side of the room go to real estate school? Yes, not yet.
I did.
Cool. So real estate school, right? You went to real estate school and you did everything you needed to learn. You did what you had to do to pass the test. Do you remember that day when you passed the test? I remember that day because it took me 7 times to pass the test. It was a very important day for me when I finally passed it. Which means, just so you know, you don't have to actually be good at the test to do all right in real estate, which is exciting news. At any rate, you pass the test, you show up to your real estate office for the first time, and what's the first thought you have when you realize?
I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, I have no idea how to sell real estate. Real estate school was a total scam. And what do I do, right? And somehow you found your way, right? You went to a class, maybe you shadowed an agent, and then you got your first client, right? And you were really excited and they wanted to write an offer, but it was at 10 o'clock at night because that's usually when they want to write the first offer. And so you said, that's okay, I'm ready for this. I took all the classes. I prepared for this my whole career, my 4 weeks of my career. And you logged into the MLS system or your forms portal and your hair burst into flames because you realized that even though you had been to class and even though you had maybe even practiced, you really weren't ready to do it on your own with a real live person, right? And that's because real estate is experiential. And so I know for all of you that are either in the Zoom room or here, that you learned more doing your very first real estate deal than you did during any class, any shadowing, anything else. Safe to say? And so Homeward is just like that. It's experiential. So I'm going to give you a ton of information today. And I want you to know that the best way to learn Homeward is to jump in and use Homeward. And I know that you all can do that because you've done it with real estate. Okay. Oh, so it's not an arrow thing, huh?
It's a mouse thing.
Oh yeah, you're going to have to try it. You do it from there? Yeah, you want this. Because if it's a mouse thing, then I'm going to be mousing around. Okay, so before we hit the next slide, also, if you're taking notes, write this down, Homeward Advisor. Homeward Advisor. So at Homeward, we have developed an entire team on the back end that is designed to service our agents. Homeward Advisors today, after you work with me, you're going to get your very own. Okay, your Homeward Advisor is going to be your one-stop shop at Homeward. They are, did you put chips in your sandwich? Yeah, I love that. They are not only agent facing and that after I give you a ton of information, you're probably going to have some more questions. Not only are they agent facing, they're also customer facing. So when you're out there in the field, if you've just talked to a buyer and you're on your way to a listing appointment, you can literally say, you know what, I'm going to have my Homeward Advisor reach out to you. They're going to explain everything and they'll get you started on the process. You text or call your Homeward Advisor and say, Susan, I got a buyer. Here's Bob and Shirley. They know you're calling. Your Homeward Advisor will get on the phone with those clients, talk all about Homeward, edify you as the agent of choice, get them started on their application. And by the time you get done with your listing appointment, your buyer will be well on their way to being approved to be a cash buyer. So leverage, leverage, leverage. Homeward Advisor, they're going to be your go-to person. Next slide, please. All right, so everybody please sign in, which I have a QR code there, but I just need to make sure everybody signs in or that I get a sign-in sheet. Hi. Hi. Yeah. So we can either pass around a sign-in sheet or you guys can sign in. This is just so I know you were here. Oh yeah, that's probably smart. I just like to see them, but nobody's on screen. So
Yeah.
So we're just signing in. Hi. What's your name?
Lena.
Oh, you're Lena. Hey, what's up? Hi. I thought your hair was black. No, it was darker on the screen. Was it? It was to me.
It's
Yeah.
actually blonder, and so I just put this pink in it to match my daughter.
You have pink in it? Am I colorblind?
The pink is hiding.
Okay, well, look, there's Tim. Can you guys find me? I know, it doesn't really matter, but I'm the really cute one right there. All right, so please sign in. Go ahead and click on the next slide for me. All right, so another QR code, guys. We love QR codes at Homeward. Nobody made a greater comeback in 2020 than the QR code. Do you guys remember before 2020, if you had a QR code, you were really out of date? Like people were like, what are you doing with a QR code? But now they're back. Everybody has them. Thanks, COVID. All right, so this QR code, you can scan it now or you can scan it down the road. It doesn't matter to me. It's gonna pop back up, but this is basically your all access pass to all things Homeward. This is what gets you a Homeward advisor. This is what gets you your agent dashboard. This is what gets you access to all of our marketing materials, our script book. I've got everything that you could ever possibly want, need, or imagine needing inside of this agent dashboard, and we built it all out for you guys. And your Homeward advisor is going to happily walk you through how to use the products and the tools. The tools being the script book, the email templates, the text templates, the Canva, all of it, right? Now, today we're going to really focus on our cash products. And before we jump into that, I just wanted to introduce myself. I haven't even done that yet. So my name is Julie Youngblood. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. Born and raised out there. Did not grow up in a casino, although I do get asked that often. Not as much anymore, but when AOL came out, remember AOL Instant Messenger? Some of you guys are too.
I remember that.
People were like, did you grow up, do you live at the Mirage? I'm like, no. I don't live with dolphins and I don't ride white tigers to school, and my mom, I don't play craps all day long. Like, I'm a real person. At any rate, like I said earlier, I went to real estate school when I was 17. Real estate's all I've ever done. Did I mention that I'm a real estate agent yet to you guys? I am. I'm a real estate agent. It's literally all I've ever done. I love real estate. I fell into it because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And my dad just happened to be a broker and he was running a real estate school. So he said, Julie, go to real estate school. And I said, fine, I'll go. So I was 17. 7 times later, I passed the test and I got my license. I did not go work with my dad. He worked at a Century 21 office. I actually ended up going to Keller Williams. So I've been with Keller Williams since the very first day of my career.
Wow.
Started on a team, loved the team. The team that I was on is actually in the MREA book, the Brinkus team. We did about 400 deals a year back when that was really hard to do. People do it all the time now. But we were doing that. And so I kind of worked my way through the ranks there. Figured if I'm not going to go to college, I might as well pretend like I'm in college in real estate. And I believe that working with Rick and Terry for 8 years, I got my PhD. In real estate, I eventually went out on my own and I started a productivity coaching program. Do you guys have a productivity coaching program here? Yeah, I love it. I loved being a PC. It was one of my most favorite things. In being a PC, I actually ended up marrying the team leader. We're still married today. And like any PC and TL do when they get together, we started our own real estate team. And so we've got a team down in Las Vegas. My point here is that I want y'all to know that I know you. I am one of you, right? I think like you, I act like you, I want the same things as you, I'm a little crazy like you, right? Real estate agents were different. We just are. I also want you to know that when I looked at Homeward, the first time I heard about it was like 2019-ish. I looked at it just like a real estate agent would, right? Is this a scam? Is this something I can really use to build my business? And how is this going to really help people? And by the way, is it easy enough, right? If it's too complicated, I'm just not doing it. And so I looked at it the way that you're going to look at it today. And I say that because I want you to know you can't run any games on me. I know what you're thinking. And I want you to feel comfortable asking me questions. Like, this product only works if you understand it. And that means that I want to have open dialogue about it, right? If you're saying to me, Julie, I don't think that this will work in this market, let me know. Like, I get to take that back to the team and we get to figure it out. So we're new to Washington, right? This is a new state for us. We just got here last week. You guys sell more homes in Washington than I ever will. And so your feedback is really important to me. Now I've done more Homeward deals than you guys have. So I think with my knowledge and with your knowledge that we can really work together and make this thing go kaboom. Other side note, we launched in Washington and we launched with Door Market Center. So we partner specifically when we come to new markets. I do all the launch plans and I specifically pick Keller Williams offices because usually have relationships and I think you guys should have the leading edge, right? And Ben Kinney just happens to be actually a good friend of mine, and Via, you guys know Via? She was adamant. She has been chasing Tim Heil down for months. And when we got here, Via was like, you got to go with me. You got to go with our office. You got to go. So you're literally the only Keller Williams offices that we're launching with, which is kind of neat. So if you take advantage of it, it'll be good for you. All right, next. Okay, so let's talk about the market, right? I have this slide in here because I think it's an interesting time to be launching Homeward in a new market. So when I opened up in Florida 90 days ago, everybody was like, yes, we need you. It was the tail end of Q1, which just happens to have been one of the craziest quarters in real estate history, right? Did you guys feel that? Did you guys feel a little bit nutty in Q1? Yeah, in Q2, things kind of started to simmer down. And at the end of Q2, which we just got to the tail end of, rates skyrocketed, right? And more people put their homes on the market. And so we're seeing a little bit of a shift, right? What are you guys experiencing, if anything? I don't like it's
longer, no show. Sorry.
Yeah. What's the vibe in Washington? In Florida, they're like
showings.
Less
Sitting on the
showings?
market longer.
What's longer for you?
Well, instead of flying off in a couple days, it's maybe sitting up to 30 days, yeah, or
30
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you still have homes with multiple offers?
definitely not as much.
Not every home, but some still. Yeah, I know that, I mean, for me, it seems like it doesn't matter what the market is, if it's priced well, it'll sell. Right, the best ones always sell the fastest. I also think it's kind of funny that. Well, let me share some numbers with you guys, this will be helpful. So when COVID started at the beginning, we had about 1.2 million realtors in the country. That was a record too, by the way, for NAR. Do you guys know how many we have today?
1.5.
Yeah, it's like 1.6. Almost 500,000 more realtors in the last 2 years. That's explosive growth. Now, y'all know why that is, right? Everybody got furloughed or laid off, and it was finally time to chase that dream that I've always wanted, which is to be a real estate agent. And so you've got a ton more realtors out there in the marketplace with less education than ever before because, well, brokerages were shut down. Education just wasn't really happening like it was. And there just wasn't really an opportunity to dig in and do the things that we had done previously. And so I look at that and I look at how many realtors do you think have been around in a market that's either stabilizing or declining in the past of the 1.6 million?
Like less than 10%.
Yeah, they estimate it's like 25% of people have actually been in a stable or downshifting market. Now, that means for the last roughly 12 years, we've been going like this, right? What was the appreciation rates here just in the last 12 months, out of curiosity? Do you guys know?
Appreciation?
Yeah, like if I bought a house a year ago today,
10%.
10%, which is astronomical, right? Compared to Austin, it's not. It was like 26%. But a good appreciation, a good healthy appreciation is anywhere from 3 to 5% annually, right? And so we look at 10% and it's like, man, that's kind of insane. And it's been doing that pretty gradually for the last few years. So when things start to shift a little bit and 70% or 75% of your agent population has never experienced it, we can create a lot of the frenzy, right? So let me give you guys some more numbers. I write these down because these are really good for listing appointments. And I hope they can hear me up there. So at the beginning of the year, there were 295,000 homes for sale in the United States. So I'm gonna go nationwide. I don't have your specific market data. I think we could all agree that the real estate market is hyper local. However, the national numbers are pretty cool to look at too. So 295,000 homes for sale at the beginning of Q1. At the end of Q1, there were 241,000 homes for sale. So remember how crazy it felt? That's because we couldn't keep up. 241,000, we were down like 50 grand in 3 months, homes wise. At the end of Q2, we were up to 340,000 homes for sale. So we saw an increase of quite a bit, right? That's what everybody's feeling. They're feeling that increase in inventory plus interest rates. Now, do you guys know how many homes the United States needs to have for sale at any given time for it to feel quote unquote normal? It's 1 to 1.2 million. So with 341,000 homes for sale or 340,000 homes for sale, we are still 3 times away from where we need to be normal. So while things might feel like they're slowing, they certainly aren't it's not taking 6 months to sell properties, right? While things might feel like they're slowing, people that are waiting for the market to crash or prices to change, my crystal ball is just as foggy as it's ever been. However, I understand basic supply and demand, right? If we need 1.2 million to feel normal and we've got 340,000, what are the chances that prices are going to crash here in the next 6 months? Right. And you guys know how it goes. Like the status quo eventually will be that 5 and 6% interest rates are just kind of, that's what people do, right? So I say that because I think that it's important to understand the market, especially when we're talking about cash products, because sometimes agents, they just don't believe that this is a product that can serve them in all markets, but cash is king is not a new concept, right? So we're going to dig into that, but I just thought give you guys some numbers you can use on a listing appointment. Like we're the educators, right, of our buyers and sellers. The problem is there's just not enough of us out there that are educated. So, all right, next slide. So today we're gonna learn about our contingent eliminators and our cash offer solutions. You can click next slide. Some of these will move through pretty quick. This is Liz. She was just really pumped, guys, when she used us. She said it was the best experience ever. Next slide.
Hands
All right. Huh?
I just said hands down.
Hands down. Is that what that stuff that looks like? Hands down. All right, so this is Tim Heil. Tim Heil, I love him to death. Do you guys know who he is? He's a great guy. He's a Keller Williams agent. He's the one that started Homeward, right? So I'm not silly. I know I'm not the only cash offer solution out there in the market, right? And honestly, Washington is one of those states where people like to come and test stuff on you guys. You guys are like little lab rats, right? Tatiana's laughing. People come in with like their tech nerds and their VC money and their Patagonias. Everybody up here wears Patagonia, but they come in with their money and they're like, we're going to get into real estate. We're going to test it out on you guys. Guys, we were already here, right? Tim Heil, a Keller Williams agent out of Austin, Texas. He started Homeward back in 2018, late 2018. He did the very first deal, and this is what it looked like. He had some clients. He had a bunch of clients. He said he had like 15 listings that he could get the listing if he could just figure out their next house, right? He had a couple that he liked, and they said, look, Tim, we'd love to sell. We'd love to move. But every time we find something that we like, it's gone before we can even drive by. Not to mention, we're just a little nervous putting our house on the market, not knowing where we're going to go next. We don't want to be homeless. We don't want to go live with relatives. We don't want to rent. So we're just kind of stuck. Right? This is not an uncommon problem, and this is a challenge that real estate agents have been dealing with for decades, right? Depending on the market will determine how easy it is to do those daisy chain transactions. At any rate, Tim had an idea one night. He went home to his wife and he said, honey, I've got an idea, which I'm sure is terrifying for her. He said, I'm going to take our savings account and I'm going to buy this couple their next house. I'm going to do that because as soon as I buy that for them and they move in, we get the listing, babe, and that's what I want. I want the listing. As soon as the listing sells, they can buy that house back from us. So I turn them into a cash buyer so they can win in the Austin market, and I get the listing, get out of here. It's a win-win. And so we went to the clients. He mentioned the idea. They said, let's do it. I mean, who would say no to getting a free bag of cash, right? So Tim did that and it closed, it worked. And if you talk to him at family reunion or at masterminds, he'll tell you it was one of the best transactions he'd ever done in his career. So much so that he said, I got to make a business out of it. So Homeward was originally a concept for the Heil Group, if you've ever heard of the Heil Group. And that's how we got in a bunch of the states that we're in. Since then, though, we've hired a bunch of really smart people and raised over $500 million in capital that we want to spend with you guys in Washington. And so with that, I want y'all to know that I think what also sets us apart is if you think about the very first story, this was just a guy wanting to get more listings. Right? That's the birthplace of Homeward, an agent wanting to get more listings. Because we were started by agents, we recognize that the real estate agent is the heart of the transaction, right? I think that you should be the solution center for all things real estate in your market. I don't want your buyers, your sellers, your best friends, and your past clients Googling how to win a house in this market. I want them calling you, right? That's who you are. You're the advisor, you're the resource. And we really believe that here at Homeward. And we believe it so much that we do not have a direct to consumer leg. We only go direct to agent. So we partner with agents so that they can take our products and our tools to their clients. Your buyers and sellers are not going to hear about Homeward because of Homeward. They will only hear about it because of you. That's our commitment to you. We just think you guys are that important. You work too hard not to get cut out, really, let's be real. Now, I think it's great. You probably are hearing that and you're thinking, thanks, Homeward. Here's my biggest problem. Are you ready? It's also terrifying for Homeward because we have really big goals. And when you're working through agents, and so many of them are secret agents, it's really tough. My competitors don't necessarily care about you, right? They have a very large direct to consumer arm and a lot of money to spend doing it. And they do it. And about once a week, I get a call from an agent who has been to one of these trainings and they say, Julie, oh my gosh, it happened. You said it would and it did. I got the call that, get in here. I got the call that my buyer that I've shown 38 properties to and written 15 offers for, they got wrapped up. They ended up on a website, they filled in some information, they talked to somebody and they're going to use a cash solution. The only problem is they have to use that agent and they have to use that mortgage company. And so I want you to know that will happen with us. However, if you don't talk about it, it will happen without us. Buyers and sellers are looking for ways to transact. So it's important, you guys. All right, next slide. All right, at Homeward, we have 3 companies. We're going to really focus on the Homeward Inc. today, which is our cash offer solutions. I have a mortgage company. I have a title company. I will tell you that one of the things I like about Homeward as well is that you do not have to use our mortgage company to use our cash. So you can keep working with your lender and leverage our cash for your clients. I know for me as a real estate professional, I've known my lender since I was in 7th grade. He's been my guy, okay? I still make fun of the way he dressed in high school. And the bleach tips. Do you guys remember that? Yeah. Lena, I feel like we went to school together at the same time.
Probably. What year did you graduate?
99.
99.
What? Oh, let's go. We love NSYNC. Okay, next. So, you were born in 99?
Yeah, you guys are all.
You just said they were born.
She was born there.
The truth is, it's happening more and more.
So what you're saying is you could be my baby.
So what you're saying is,
Yeah,
you could have,
Here.
you could have been famous, you could have been on T-Mom on MTV with your neighbor.
Not even your mom, like I could have been 18 and had her. She was born in 99, or I was 7, whatever.
Yeah,
Late teen mom.
yeah, later T-Mom.
Yeah.
All right,
I
let's
could
talk.
have my own TV show. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, we should have probably done something like that. I mean, who knows where we'd be today? All right, so we're gonna focus on our Homeward cash offers. I've got a mortgage company, I've got a title company. Like I said, you don't have to use our mortgage company to use our cash. We do financially incentivize your clients to do that in full transparency. However, if you get a better deal somewhere else, by all means, go somewhere else. Next slide. All right, what is benefits for you? Win deals in any market. That's right, any market, folks. It doesn't matter. Work more efficiently. Why not write the best offer first? Our clients do not have to suffer to learn a lesson to buy a house. Can we stop that? Like, oh, they just need to learn their lesson. No, they don't. They need to buy the house they want first. That's what they really need. And then get some more referring happy clients. When you start handing out bags of cash to people, they talk about it. They talk about it. Tim didn't realize how many referrals he was going to get. He said, oh my gosh, unintended side effect. So many referrals. Next slide. All right, how about benefits for your clients? Those are benefits for you, benefits for your clients. They get to work with an agent that they already know. I hope that that's a benefit to them. We'll see, to be determined. Enjoying a calmer, more convenient experience. If you've ever done a double move or the daisy chain, it's not fun. And we know what to expect as real estate agents, right? Could you imagine how our buyers and sellers feel? And then actually winning a house that they like. We did have a buyer in Dallas who wrote 25 financed offers without us. And then they found us. They wandered into an open house. And the agent there said, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested. I'm actually turning all my clients into pure cash buyers so they can win in this market or negotiate a better deal. Sound like something you might be interested in? And that buyer said, you're doing what? Huh? And that agent said, yeah, I sure am. When's a good time for us to get together? Weekdays good or would weekends be better? And you guys know the rest of the drill because you're bold and you went and you practiced all your scripts. They set the appointment, that buyer came in, they met with that agent, they got Homeward cash approved. They wrote one Homeward cash offer. And they got it. Now we were really excited, right? So we called them. We said, oh my gosh, how exciting is this? Do you know what the buyer said? They said, yeah. Have you ever called somebody, been super excited, only for them to be like a wet blanket? This was one of those experiences. And so they said, yeah, I mean, we got a house. That's cool. We're happy. But man, we wish we would have known about you sooner because we loved that first house. That was like our dream house. We even liked the second and the third house, but they literally were on house number 26 or 27. They'd start to settle, right? They were doing that thing where they're like, oh, this one just came on the market. Lena, can you write the offer? I'll drive by later. You guys know what I'm talking about? That's berserk. Okay, next slide. Oh my gosh, another quote. Bo was also very happy with us. Next slide.
Wait, so was that the end of the story? Like they just weren't that happy with the house they got?
Oh no, I mean, they got it. They just wish they would have known about us sooner.
I thought you were gonna say like, and
Then they went back to the,
or
no, it's unfortunately, it's just a sad ending. It's just,
sell that house.
it's just,
buy the other
they
one.
lost it. Some other buyer bought it. 26 offers. How long do you think it took them to get to 26 offers? Months, probably, right? That old house was probably twice the price then. That's the other thing. They probably bought a less equipped house. Okay, are you guys ready for our products? Do we have questions from the chat by chance? No, they're just saying how awesome I am. They love me. I'll be signing autographs later. Okay, so we've got 3 products here. You guys ready? I am. I'm gonna go high level, then I'm gonna dig into each one. So our product for buyers and sellers is the buy before you sell product. That's the very first one that Tim did. That's how we got started. Buy before you sell is for anybody who has a home to sell first. Okay, we're gonna get them Homeward approved. They're gonna go shop like a cash buyer with a 21-day close. As soon as that house closes, you're gonna list their old property and sell it. When it closes, they'll buy their new home back from Homeward. I will get into the details here. The bottom line is that this is a contingency eliminator, and it's better than some of my competitors who literally just eliminate the contingency. I'm gonna do that plus give you a bag of cash. So no contingency and bags of cash, get out of town, Julie. How do you do it? I'll show you. So this one, by the way, if your wheels are spinning a little bit, this is an excellent product for relocation. You guys have people moving in from Texas, or I heard they're coming from California, right? I don't care where they're selling their old house. I only care where they're buying. So this is a good motivation tester too, right? Ever worked with a seller who you thought was really motivated and they just really weren't? We'll put them in a position to go buy their next house first, and you really get to test the water there, right? You get to see who's really ready to make the move. It's also a great product for new homes. Do you guys have a lot of new home sales out here? And right now, I mean, our builders are starting to pay us again in Las Vegas. Are they paying you guys again? I can't wait. I cannot wait for Lennar to show up with lunch in my office. She's not getting out of there alive. Okay, at any rate, I digress. I'm not bitter. This is a really good new home product, right? So imagine right now, or in any market, when you go do a contingent upon on a new home, you usually have 30 to 45 days to remove the contingency, right? Which almost guarantees that your client's going to be homeless during the 6, 9, or 12-month build. So why not make Homeward the buyer on the new build? We can buy it in 12 months when it's finished, right? Then your clients can move in. They've had the comfort of staying in their old home. Ideally, prices have appreciated. They'll get more for their home later. And as soon as the new home closes, they buy in, you list the old home, sell it for top dollar, they buy the new home back from Homeward. It's a great product, all right? It's a listing lead generator. Backed by cash is for our buyers, and so is buy with cash. These are buyer-only products. Backed by cash is essentially a financed offer with a cash guarantee close. So imagine writing a financed offer, however, it's got a 30-day guarantee close. If the buyer can't close, Homeward will buy it with cash. Very attractive to sellers. So I'll get into the details on that one. And then we've got our buy with cash program. It's like that super souped up version of the backed by cash. We actually turn the buyer into a cash buyer. Homeward goes and buys the house first, 14-day close. As soon as we close, the buyer turns around and buys it back from us. So depending which situation your buyer is in, you may want to do backed by cash if there's not a lot of competition. But if you're up against some other cash offers, the buy with cash option is going to be a really good one. So let's get into the details. Cool. Next slide. Okay, let's talk about buy before you sell. Next slide. All right, so 6 simple steps on this one. If you guys want to take pictures, I understand. I won't charge you. So let's focus on step number 1. We've got to get your buyer approved. So first and foremost, with this product, I'm going to go buy this house with my cash first. I'm going to own the home. When I do that, my number 1 goal and focus is to make sure your client can buy the house back. We only buy houses for buyers that are qualified to buy them back, right? So think of me as your rich Uncle Homeward. I want to give your buyer lots of money. I just have to make sure they can pay me back. All right. So the approval process is very simple. This is what it looks like. You're going to set up your dashboard today. You may even refer a client in today. When you do that, they'll get help from a Homeward advisor. They're going to do a mortgage application that takes 20 minutes. Okay, from the time that application is complete, Homeward is going to do a fully underwritten loan approval. Why? Because we don't want any surprises. Remember, I'm going to go buy this $2 million house with my cash. So I got to feel good about it. We feel so good about our approvals, we'll actually put our money where our mouth is. Right? So fully underwritten loan approval on this product, I need a minimum credit score of 640. It's a soft pull on their credit, so it doesn't hurt anybody to explore Homeward. And I need 2 days to turn around the approval. So in 2 days from the time they complete their app, we're going to do all of our homework and then issue you an approval that says your buyers are good to go, $2 million. That's pretty awesome. I don't think I missed anything. Did I miss anything? No, I didn't. Oh, I did. We work 7 days a week. So these 2-day approval times, that includes the weekends, just so you guys know. All right, as soon as your client is Homeward cash approved, now you get to go shopping all over Washington, but now you're a cash buyer with a 21-day close. Cash buyer with a 21-day close versus contingent upon my house that's not even on the market yet, 45, 60-day escrow that might close with financing and appraisal contingencies. You know the drill, right? Which offer is gonna win? I don't care if there's competition or not, the cash offer is always, it's more attractive. All right, so you're gonna make your Homeward cash offer. By the way, our team will walk you through that. We provide offer writing instructions. We give you proof of funds. Remember, I'm signing the offer. Everything will be done on your Washington State forms through whatever signing portal you use. You'll have my email address. You'll send it just like a regular buyer. We sign offers 7 days a week. We sign up until 9 o'clock at night. You're gonna love it. It should feel just like I'm a regular buyer. I just have $500 million. Not like a regular buyer. All right, so you make your Homeward cash offer, seller's going to accept it. Why? Because cash offers are 4 times more likely to get accepted. I close 21 days later. When I close on day 21, your buyer gets the keys. They need to turn on their utilities. They get the house. It's their house. We don't really care. We want them to have it. You've got 2 weeks to put their old home on the market. So they can move into their new home, you can go spruce it up, get rid of the fish mural, right? Get rid of the cat smell, whatever the case may be. Get the old home ready to go to market, do your photos, ta-da. You've got 6 months to sell it. Plenty of time, right? If you're newer, you're like, wait, it takes 6 months to sell a home. Yeah. Once upon a time it did. I used to take 1-year listings and get extensions. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember those days? No, that's okay. You'll learn. Oh, you gonna learn. Okay. You got 6 months to sell their home. As soon as their house closes, their old house closes, now they've got their proceeds, right? They just finish the mortgage and they buy their new home back from us, the one that they've been living in. Pretty simple, right? That's what I thought. Oh, next slide. Oh, back to my cash. Oh, this is a new slide deck.
We do have some.
We got some questions? Okay, let's do it.
So Sean says, how does this process compare or differ from what's offered in the market? I believe Fly Homes offers something similar.
So I don't do a ton of research on our competitors only because there's so many of them, and as many that are in the market now, that's how many have also gone out of the market. So Fly Homes they're not anywhere else that we function. I think they do something similar, but I believe it's a bridge loan.
I think so.
So we don't do a bridge loan. Your client won't own 2 properties with us. They'll own 1 home. I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to buy the other one with my cash. So that's the biggest differentiator that I know of.
And what percentage of applicants have been approved since Homeward launched versus not qualified?
Wow, I mean, that's since 2019. I don't know. We're a regular mortgage lender, so it's all the same processes. I mean, if they're approved for a loan, they can get approved with us.
What happens if the house they're selling doesn't meet, you don't sell it for as much as you thought they were gonna sell it for when they go for your buying back?
You mean if
Buying their new house, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they thought they were gonna sell it for 500,000 and they
Right.
sold it for 475.
Or for, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so this hasn't been a huge challenge recently because everything is selling. What we do an evaluation of the old home when we do the approval. So we will actually work with the listing agent on that old home when they're doing their mortgage application, and we'll say, okay, Mackenzie, what do you think the old home is worth? We think it's worth 1.2. What do you think? Like we rely on you guys because you're the local experts. And then we actually determine if it's in one of our markets we serve, the old home will determine what's called a floor price. The floor price is where if it doesn't sell in 6 months, Homeward will buy it for 90 to 95% of market value. Our goal is for you to sell it. However, if it doesn't sell, Homeward will buy it. And we have factored all of that in when we're doing the approval. So the good news is we've done a couple thousand of these now. And so we've worked out a lot of the kinks. Texas was our guinea pig, right? The only thing that's different is you guys have like floating homes and some different rental restriction rules. And you guys have some little funky state stuff, but overall the product, the kinks have been worked out. So I hope that answers the question. Cool. Any other questions? Okay. So, wait, can you go back? Oh, we're doing backed by cash, right? Yeah. Okay. So backed by cash is exclusively for buyers. Okay. This is a buyer product. This is the one where you write your financed offer with a 30-day guarantee with, I need a 5-day due diligence period, no financing contingency and no appraisal contingency. And I'll get into how we do appraisals in a minute. So we're gonna get your client approved. This one, the credit score just depends on the loan product, right? If it's an FHA credit score, I think is 580 right now, right? If they're doing conventional, if they're doing whatever they're doing, we get them approved up front. Again, they don't have to use our mortgage company, but for us to guarantee the close with our cash, we have to make sure the buyer's golden. We take a lot of risk on this. This is probably our riskiest program for Homeward. All right, as soon as the client's approved, you can make your offer. You'll attach a backed by cash addendum to your offer. We will give you scripts and tools, or even call the listing agent if you want to help them understand why our backed by cash offer is stronger than even a regular cash offer or any other financed offer they're gonna get. As soon as they close, or as soon as the seller accepts, we're gonna move forward and close, right? The happy path is we close in the buyer's name. Now, let's say the buyer doesn't close on time and the seller won't grant an extension. Homeward will enact our cash. We will buy the house with our cash. If the buyer is still mortgage eligible, they can buy the house back from us and it'll become a buy with cash program. Or if they're not mortgage eligible, let's say they quit their job, got fired, lied on their loan application, believe it or not, people are crazy, then we have to end up selling that property. We don't hold properties. So happy path is you write a great offer, buyer closes, ta-da. Unhappy path is, buyer can't close. Our promise to the seller is Homeward is that we will close. So we'll close with our cash. If the buyer can buy it back from us, they're welcome to do that. If they cannot, then we'll sell it on the open market. All right, next slide. Buy with cash. Woo! This is like the souped up Cadillac one. So this is for anybody who doesn't have a home to sell and they want to leverage the power of cash, right? So same process up front. We're going to get your buyer approved, right? This one does require a 640 credit score. I can only do VA and conventional on this one. We can and jumbo, of course. As soon as your buyer is approved, you're going to make your Homeward cash offer. I'm the buyer on this one. 14-day close. Seller's going to accept because my goodness, why wouldn't they, right? This is a really strong offer. As soon as we close, 14 days later, your client can move in, they get the keys, and then we immediately start the buyback. The buyback on this one is no more than 30 days because there's no old home to sell, right? 30 days, they own the home. Think of the cash closing as like an insurance policy, right? The buyer wants to win the property. The cash offer is the easiest way to get there. As soon as Homeward closes and we own it, now the buyer just finished with their mortgage. Next slide. Any questions in the chat on that one?
Yeah, it actually goes back to the same thing that I asked you when we met. If in the unhappy path,
Yes.
is there any additional cost to the client for not being able to close on that home?
Yeah, so unhappy path. First off, in all of our products, you guys, the buyer does put up the earnest money. So Homeward's not coming out of pocket to secure the property. Earnest money below $1 million is 2%, above $1 million is 4%. And I always make the joke, you go in 2%, I'll go in 98%. Sound fair? Fair, fair. Sign me up all day. And you get to own it. Perfect. So in the unhappy path, how is the buyer protected? So here's how it works. If the buyer becomes mortgage ineligible because of the buyer, they quit their job, they got fired from their job, maybe they didn't disclose everything on their application. If the buyer decides to walk, and by the way, this is after the due diligence period, the buyer decides to walk, they just decide to walk. The buyer will lose their earnest money because they're walking. So is that clear? If it's on the buyer, they'll lose their earnest money.
Just like in a regular deal.
Just like in a regular deal. Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Just like a regular deal. Now, the buyer will get their earnest money back if two scenarios. The appraisal comes in below what we established it should have come in at during the due diligence. And I'll talk about appraisals in a minute. So they're protected on the appraisal. Or if the buyer is not mortgage eligible and it was something that Homeward missed. In other words, they provided us all the information and we said, yeah, you're good to go. And then we realized in underwriting, the underwriter didn't catch, wait, they spend $800 a month on their car payment. But it was financed through their best friend, so it's not on their credit report. But it's coming out of their account every month, right? So if it's something we missed, then the buyer would be protected as well. So it's just like a regular deal, a little extra cushioning in the appraisal scenario, but does that answer the question?
Sean, does that answer your question?
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
All right, how much does it cost?
Can you
I
hear me?
know, everybody wants to know.
Actually, there it is. Go ahead.
My question, and maybe you did answer it, was that you don't own a home. That was the third scenario I want to say. and they were gonna use it for the same as cash, and maybe you're about to get to this, what is the cost to the client to be able to use the program, which maybe you have, I set you up.
Oh my, are you the Segway king or what? Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what's next.
There
How
you
much
go.
does it cost? That's what everybody wants to know. So each program has a different convenience fee. All of our programs have a convenience fee. Let me just start there. On my 2 pure cash products, the ones where we buy the house first, there's gonna be some rent. So I'm gonna cover convenience fee and then we'll talk about rent down the road. But let's really dig into this. So backed by cash, right? This is that, are you taking? Backed by cash is, again, that's the guarantee close right after the due diligence. If your buyer can't close, Homeward buys it. That program is 1%. It's 1%. And if your client works with Homeward Mortgage, we'll give them the 1% back. So it'll be free if they work with our mortgage company. If they don't, they just pay the 1% as a closing cost to Homeward Mortgage or to Homeward Inc. All right. Buy with cash, the convenience fee on that one is 1.9%. It's 1.9%, but let me walk you through how we do that. We roll the convenience fee into the purchase price when the client buys the home back from us. So I know 500,000 is like a shack around here, I think, right? Is that right? But it's the numbers I have memorized, so you'll just have to be nice to me. So let's say Homeward buys a house for $500,000. When your buyer goes to buy it back, if they're doing our buy with cash program, they'll buy it back for 5,095. So that's 500 plus 1.9%. If they work with our mortgage company, we will do a seller credit, because I'm a seller, of 1%. So I'll give them back $5,000. They can use that towards their closing costs. If they don't use my mortgage company, they just buy the house for 5,095. Make sense? Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Perfect. Buy before you sell. Clearly a little bit more risk. There's an asterisk here, but it doesn't apply to you guys. Buy before you sell is 2.4%. Okay, so I buy the house for 500,000. When your client buys it back, they're going to buy it for 512,000, right? 512. All right. If they work with our mortgage company, we'll give them a point back. So they'll get a seller credit for the 1%, making it a 1.4% net effective fee. So in all of the Homeward products, if they work with our mortgage company, we will give them 1 point back. That's easy for you to remember. The hardest thing to remember will be the 1, 1.9, and 2.4. But you don't have to remember any of that. You've got a Homeward advisor that can walk your people through it. Right now, sometimes when I go over this with people, they say, man, that's really expensive. I'm not going to talk about it with my buyers and sellers. Right? A lot of people think your commission is really expensive, but you still talk about it with buyers and sellers, right? And how do you do that? You provide and you add value first. And what do you focus on? You focus on what they're going to walk away with, right? You focus on their net. Homeward is a lot like that. You guys are already skilled and you know how to present things in a way that helps the client see that it's a value. You guys just told me your market's appreciated 10% in the last 12 months, right? That's a lot of money, especially with your price points, right? So I guess the real question is, if it took a buyer another 4 or 5 months to actually secure a property, right? How much more would they be paying in appreciation? 6%? 5%? So I guess the question is, do you want to pay 0 or 0.9 or 1.4% now, right? Or do you want to pay 6 or 10% later? Make sense? All right, next slide. Sean, was it Sean? Is that good, Sean?
Yes, I have another question, but maybe you'll cover it.
Okay, oh, I like where your head's at. Okay, oh my gosh, another happy customer. Look, oh, this is an agent. They love us. Next slide. Let's talk about rent. We love rent. Okay, so rent only applies on 2 products, okay? The ones that I buy the house first. Who remembers which 2 products those are?
Buy before you sell.
Yes.
I've been listening online.
Are you Sean?
Trevor.
Trevor. Buy before you sell and buy with cash. Remember, I buy the house first. So rent is it's something we have to charge. I don't like calling it rent, but it is what it is. It's really to cover our carrying costs. So I'm going to throw 500K out there, or $1 million out there, or $3 million out there for your buyer, right? I'm going to close and now my money's tied up. Rent, the length of rent really it's determined on which product. Okay. So buy before you sell, there's a huge variable there. We've got an old home that has to sell. So rent could last as long as 6 months on that product. The average that we're seeing right now is 47 days. All right. I think that might trend up a little bit if agents don't have really real conversations with their sellers about what they need to list the home at, right? The best homes that are priced right always sell. So average though right now on buy before you sell is 47 days of rent. Buy with cash, all right? I close, the buyer's gonna they're gonna buy it back within 30 days. So I always tell our buyers, plan on 30 days of rent on that program. If we can do it faster, we will, okay? We're averaging 21 days. I will tell you that I never tell that to buyers, because if it takes 24, they believe that I have kidnapped their children and sold them on the black market, right? If I tell them 30 and it takes 24, they're gonna think that you're the superstar that pushed Homeward to move faster. And that's really what I want. You know, the whole under promise, over deliver, right? So rent just depends. Rent starts from the day I close until your client buys the home back.
And it shows up as a closing cost at closing.
That's right. Have you been here? Have you seen this presentation?
No, but I've been listening.
I love it. Okay, so rent, we're gonna prorate the rent. This is probably the biggest unseen savings in any Homeward transaction, right? Especially if you've got a seller who's nervous about where to go next, or what if I get into a house I love, but then I don't sell my old house? I'm gonna lose that house, and they're gonna be stressed out and like throw their hands in the air. So they do crazy things like sell their house now and go live in a short-term rental. And rentals are the highest they've ever been, right? Everywhere I go, it's expensive. You're gonna spend 10 grand just to get the keys to a rental in Las Vegas. I have to imagine it's more than that here, right? So we're gonna prorate the cost so they only pay for the days they need. Unlike any other scenario where they're gonna go sign a contract to go live somewhere for 3 to 6 months. All right, so it's prorated. I don't mark the rent up. So rent is not a money maker for Homeward. It is strictly to cover our cost of having our money tied up in your client's property. I like that we don't make money on it. It means that we all want the same things, right? I want my money back and your client wants to close. That keeps us on the same team. So one more day of rent where I make an extra $150, guys, I'm not interested in that. I'd really just like to close the mortgage. Cool. So just like lovingly let your buyers know. Homeward doesn't really want to charge you rent. They just want their money back. Rinse and repeat, right? And then we're going to defer all the rent payments. So buyers aren't coming out of pocket every month for their rent. It shows up as a closing cost, as Trevor, right? As Trevor said. That's vital for our buy before you sell folks, because guys, on the first of the month, what do they have? They have a mortgage payment, right? And most people in this position can't pay a mortgage payment and a rent payment at the same time. And so it shows up as a closing cost when they buy their house back from us. Oh my gosh, we need a round of applause for that. Next slide. Okay, we do have a buy box. I have a buy box. Ready? So remember, I'm gonna go buy the house first. Which means in the off chance your client doesn't buy it back from me or doesn't close on my back to buy cash program, I'm stuck with it, right? I'm not stuck with it, but I got to turn around and sell it. What I don't want to do is buy a 10-acre farm with a citrus grove and 3 manufactured properties on it and 2 cowboys. When I do that, that's a very unique buyer, right? So if your client doesn't buy it back from me, now I'm going to go, it's probably going to sit on the market for a year. So it doesn't have to be super cookie cutter, but I do need to be able to turn it quickly in the off chance your buyer doesn't buy back. So our buy box is this. We can go as low as 200. There's no minimum on back by cash, although I can't imagine anything being 200,000 out here. Works well in Georgia. Okay, not here in Washington. I can go as low as 200,000 up to 3 million. Now I know that some of you work in a much higher price range than that because you've got Julie and Tatiana here, because you're a partner. You guys have the opportunity to give us properties to run up the flagpole to our valuations team. Do you guys know Gina Ront, Keller Williams agent in Austin, Texas? I got a $6 million property approved for one of his clients. Oh. So it's not impossible, right? We're just looking at what are the days on the market for that home, and do we want to roll the dice on it? All right. Home has to be habitable. We cannot buy properties that need to be bulldozed. Sometimes your investors hear cash and they think we can buy the super dog and then we're going to flip it. This isn't that product. All right. And then no mobile homes or manufactured properties, and no farms or ranches. That's for Texas. I don't think you guys have a lot of farms and ranches. You got Christmas tree farms up here?
No, we have there.
Yeah.
Small but bigger property.
Okay. I'm gonna add that to my presentation. Next slide. In Florida, I had to add citrus groves. All right, let's talk about the appraisal. I'm going to cover this quickly. I will encourage you to talk to your Homeward advisor for more detail. Every Homeward transaction by day 5 of due diligence, you are going to know exactly where your client stands. So at no cost to the buyer, we order on a rush a desktop preliminary appraisal done by a real appraiser who is local to your area. This is not somebody doing his estimate somewhere in Indiana. All right, so they know your market. Day 5, I'm going to get the report back. That's gonna set the table for our appraisal protection. So I buy the house for 500,000, the prelim comes in at 475. I'm gonna start talking faster because I think I'm running out of time. Comes in at 475. Okay, I'm too good to be true because I can't make appraisal gaps disappear, right? I just let you know what they look like by day 5. Day 5, we're gonna come to you, Trevor, and say, hey, we're 25K apart on this one. Looks like your buyer has what it takes. Do they want to move forward and close? Or, Trevor, we don't see it. Let's talk to the buyer. Mr. Buyer, we can restructure the loan. Oh my gosh, you have an extra savings account? Whoa, a gift letter? You're so lucky, right? If the buyer can buy the house with this gap, Homeward will move forward and close. If they cannot, you as the real estate agent will cancel the transaction in the due diligence and get the earnest money back. Cool? Day 5. Now, once Homeward owns the property, we can order the final appraisal. That's not Homeward's rules, that's Fannie and Freddie guidelines. The seller has to be the owner for the appraisal to be valid. It sucks, didn't used to be like that. They changed it about 2 years ago. All right, so we order the final appraisal. This is the one that will be used for your buyer's mortgage. This is gonna go one or two ways. It's either gonna come in at or above the prelim. If it does, we expect the buyer to move forward and close. They've already agreed to it. If it does not, the buyer has 3 days, if it comes in below, they have 3 days to decide what they'd like to do. They may cancel, and if they do, we'll give them back their money. Their earnest money, if a low appraisal deposit was required, they'll get that back too. If they're on one of our buy before you sell or buy with cash programs, we'll give them all their money back minus however many days of rent they need to move out. That is not a punishment. That is just so people know we're not kicking anybody out of their house right away. We will at some point, but if it took them 3 weeks to find somewhere else to go, that's fine. So that's how the prelim works. It's a real appraiser. If you work with Homeward Mortgage, the same appraiser that did the prelim will do the final. There's a huge benefit to that. All right, next slide. Let's get started. Next slide. All right, this is that QR code again. So if you haven't already done this, please pull out your phone. This is what gets you connected to Homeward. All right, when you do this, it's going to take a few minutes. You're going to fill in your pop quiz. It's a quiz on what are all the products. No, I'm kidding. It's a quiz on your name. So you'll fill in your name. You'll tell us what MLS you're with, your public ID or whatever you guys call it out here. If you don't have it yet or you don't know, put other and put 0 as your number. You do not need any of that to actually get an agent dashboard. Agent dashboard is your all access pass to bags of cash. I think it's pretty awesome. So are we good here? So everybody got it? Yeah, cool. All right. You're also going to want to start thinking about, if you haven't already, who do I have that I could use this with inside of my database, right? Y'all have a current pipeline. So who do you have that you were showing property to last year that just gave up because it was too competitive? By the way, word on the street is buyers are coming out now more because there's more to choose from. Even though rates are higher, they feel compelled to look because there's more to choose from, which is a good thing, right? So anybody that you've got that was in the market that maybe fell out, maybe those listings that you've gone on, those listing appointments that you didn't get because they didn't know where they were going to go next. You've got a great solution. You're going to start reactively when you start thinking about Homeward, right? Who do you already have? The best agents though, you guys, they get proactive with it. They use our marketing materials and they go grab market share, right? They use what we have for buy before you sell and they get in front of more people. I think this is a great memory jogger and woohoo way to go. And I want everybody to use Homeward. What I really want is for you to use it to get in front of more people. Whether you ever do a Homeward deal or not, you will, if you don't take advantage of the knowledge that you have now to set more appointments and meet with more people, you are missing the boat. Next slide. Okay, when you get your dashboard set up, it's going to look like this. How exciting is that? You've got your very own Homeward advisor, and you see up there at the top right where it says get a client started. That's where you're going to let us know that you've got somebody who's interested. It literally takes you 15 seconds to register a client. I'm a real estate agent too, right? So you want to know what happens? We spam them to death. They're going to fire you. No, I'm kidding. That doesn't happen at all. They are going to get one email that says, hey, your agent thinks you'd be a great cash buyer. Click here to do your application. You are going to tell Homeward if you want us to call your buyer or if you want us to call you. We will act however you want us to. Some agents, they put everybody in and we call all their buyers. We've had that happen where we call agents back 6 months later and said, hey, Susan and Bob, they're finally ready to go. And that agent's like, really? Who are Susan and Bob? Go look at your agent dashboard. They forgot all about them, right? My #1 Homeward agent in Houston, everybody goes in. Not one person he meets with doesn't go into the system because our Homeward advisors are like your best ISA team ever. They follow up with everybody if you tell us to. Yeah, it's kind of cool. More leverage. All right, so getting people started is simple. Next slide. Offer request when you get to that point, also simple. I just need to make sure the house is in my buy box and I give you the offer writing instructions. You follow those, you send it in. Record is 2 minutes. We sign an offer. We can take up to 4 hours. Click, next slide. Also, if you wake up at 2 a.m. like me in a cold sweat and you're like, oh my gosh, Austin married. Oh, what's going on? Well, look, he's ready to make an offer. So all your status updates will be in there. It's like the world's best CRM. Cash relationship manager. Okay, next slide. I just made that up. Also, you're gonna have access to all of our stuff. You guys, I've got great script books. I've got email templates. I already said this, Canva marketing, everything you could ever imagine, need, or want to take this and go get proactive with it today, you have it. Your Homeward advisor is going to very happily walk you through everything as well. You could literally start marketing this on social media today with our tools. Next slide. I think we're done. Oh, help center. Who doesn't like people? I know, you get into real estate. I love people, and then you meet them and you're like, no, I actually don't. So everything that I have covered today, you can look at in our help center. In other words, if you never want to talk to me again or anybody at Homeward, check out the help center. That's what it's there for. Next slide, it should say thank you. Oh, it's that QR code again. We really want you to set up your dashboard. That's it. That's the end, you guys. That's what I got. How'd I do on time? Oh my gosh, we did it. Okay, so I've got 3 minutes for questions. I'm actually going to be hanging out here if that's all right with you guys. So, by the way, that was because we've got the third product now. That was the first time I've done it live with the third product. And so it was interesting to see how it flowed. What kind of questions do you guys have?
I have one. From above.
Okay.
Okay, this is Sean.
Hi,
Again,
Sean.
hello. So it seems like when this was put together, it was advantageous with multiple offers, people losing offers. Part of the product's appeal to me has to do with now I can win an offer, right? Because I'm going in cash. Not to say cash offer isn't strong without it, but are you guys seeing any difference, or what's the angle now with that not being the case? Maybe there's been more of one offer not needing to be cash, not having that frenzy of buyers you're battling to have that fear of I can't buy before I sell, if that makes sense.
So that's interesting. Yes, we've been hearing that. That's the whole market of the moment conversation, right? Like, well, what's Homeward going to do when you don't need cash to win? Homeward got started when you didn't need cash to win necessarily. And the reason we picked our convenience fees was because in a non-competitive situation, you can usually get 3 to 5% off market value. And so that's how we got to our convenience fee. So I think it's also an education around, I can get you a better deal because you are cash, right? There was a time where if a house was listed at 500, you could go in at 460 and the seller would be like, could we go back at 470? Because it was cash, right? So I'm not saying we're there necessarily. However, cash is typically a better negotiating tool. On buy before you sell, I mean, the fact that it's a cash offer is just kind of a perk. Really, the benefit there is that your sellers know where they're going before they even get there, if that makes sense, right? I like buy before you sell. Here's how I pitch buy before you sell, because the market is still appreciating, right? It may not appreciate at the rate it once was, but it is still appreciating. And what does every single client want that's buying and selling at the same time? They want to sell high and they want to buy low, right? And they want to do it on the same day. And if you don't believe me, when they've got an offer in or 10 offers, right? They're like, go back, get as much as you can, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? I got sellers right now, like brought them 2 offers last week. They're like, that's it. I'm like, well, you only get to accept 1. I mean, isn't 2 enough? At any rate, they're driving for you to go get more money, go get more money, right? And then as soon as their house is sold the next day, they say, hey, I want to make an offer for $50,000 less. That's what sellers want, right? Well, Homeward gives them that opportunity. You can literally buy at today's prices, lock it in and close. And by the time we close on the cash deal and you put your old home on the market, there's a good chance you've already made up that convenience fee, just an appreciation, right? So with Homeward's buy before you sell, you can literally buy low and sell high and avoid all the other drama of possibly losing the home or moving twice. So that's the angle that I go with on the buy before you sell. Buy with cash is gonna be really, it's gonna be buyer's comfort. It's gonna be one of those where it's gonna be a house by house basis, right? You may have a client who, if there's multiple offers, you wanna pull the buy with cash trigger, right? Or if there isn't, maybe you just do back to buy cash. It's still pretty strong and you could probably get a better deal. So, and it's 0. If it's 0% if you use Homeward Mortgage, I feel like, why would anybody not do that one? That just seems like a no-brainer. So I think that with the buyer products, it's gonna be a situational depending on what you're up against with the house. Does that make sense, Sean?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. I've also never presented an offer to a seller in 23 years. I've never presented a cash offer and had them say, hey, Julie, pump the brakes. I'm really looking for something with a contingency. They had a house to sell in North Dakota in the middle of the winter that isn't on the market yet. Maybe throw in like a 75-day escrow and some contingencies. You know what, maybe make it so their mom has to see it. That would be awesome. Can you call me with that offer instead of this cash offer? No one's ever done that. And Sean, since you're on the topic, let me tell you something that some people do that I think is pretty genius and I would encourage it. Some buyers will write 2 offers on the same property. They will write their buy with cash or their buy before you sell offer, right? The pure cash one with Homeward. Remember, I'm the buyer on it. And they'll write their either contingent offer or their totally financed offer at the same time. And they'll write it for, the cash offer will be for 2.4% less or 1.9% less. They'll present both those offers to the seller and they'll let the seller pick. Right?
Does the
Yes.
seller know it's from the same person, or does it look like it's?
Well,
a
it's two different names and it goes.
Different buyers, same agent. Are we allowed to do that in Washington?
Yeah, that seems like a cheat code right
I
there.
thought
You can't-
Janine said as soon as you write an offer on one home,
You can't disclose that you have.
No, you can't write an offer on local homes. Is that what you're saying?
no.
Missed it.
No,
Two
you
different
can
clients,
write.
same home.
Well,
Same buyer.
I think you could call the listing agent and say,
Different buyer.
hey, I'm gonna write 2 offers, the end user, it's the same
You can do
buyer.
that.
It's the same buyer.
One's,
Same
one's
agent,
cash.
Same buyer, you're saying I'm giving you 2 offers.
Yeah, here's a cash one that'll close in 21 days for
Oh,
500.
okay, same.
Here's a finance one
Same
that's
buyers.
So
gonna
you
close.
are telling them it's the same.
I mean, in Texas, you don't have to. And so in Nevada, I just have to disclose to the buyers that I have to get a consent to act because I've got information that can help either buyer that I can't disclose to the other buyer.
Yeah.
But in Texas, they don't have to do that. But yeah, you could call and say, hey, look, we're enrolled in a program. I can close in 21 days or 14 days with this cash at 475, or you can accept my financed offer. I don't know what's going to happen with the appraisal, and it's going to be a 45-day close. Why don't you pick? And every time that someone's done that, the seller picks the cash offer.
Want the sure thing.
Guys, they want the sure thing. Yeah. I do think the one thing we're gonna get out of this market is that they want the sure thing, right? They want the cash. And think about that backed by cash. If I didn't already say this, I say this stuff a lot every day, you guys. So if I'm repeating myself, say Julie already said that. It's kind of like early onset dementia. Because I say the same thing all day long, but I just don't know who. You're like, oh, it's so good to see you again, honey. What's your name? You're like, it's Tatiana. So, oh, I can see everybody now. So even with that backed by cash, right? It's better than a cash offer because a cash offer is tied to one person. A backed by cash offer is tied to 2 people, right? It's tied to this buyer who's financing it. And if they go cold or get flaky, it's tied to the institution that said we close. It's better than a cash offer. That's nuts to me. That's like insurance. It's a call when you're playing blackjack and you double down and you get the insurance. That's what this is. That's crazy to me, you guys.
You're from Vegas, you know that answer.
I think I should. I don't play, you know why I don't play blackjack? Because I don't know how to add that fast. I can't add 7s and 8s, like quickly. So I can play craps though. I'll play some dice. All right, what else do you guys got? I like this Klingenberg name. It's cool.
Rob is curious about marketing materials.
Oh my gosh, Rob, did you sign up for your agent dashboard? If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Is it in agent resources?
It is, Sean. Yeah, so when you're in there, if you go to agent resources, then you'll click on your state. And then at the top, it's kind of hard to see, there's a bar and it'll say things like scripts and marketing materials
Julie, what's the link to
for them to sign up.
the portal? Yeah,
Yeah, homeward.com/start.
thank you.
Yeah, Rob, you better sign up for that dashboard. You all better, they're judging me. Homeward is judging me based on how many people sign up for dashboards.
I did sign up last week and it was super easy. It took like 2 minutes.
Good. It does, it takes less than that. You type slow. What's my cut? You get to make your commission, and if you do it right, you'll make more. You'll sell more. Oh, what's his cut on them judging me? It's not enough, I'll tell you that much. Actually, I make a lot more money selling real estate. True story. What's my cut? Rob, I should be getting part of your commission for bringing this great product to Washington. Let's talk about that. Cool, is that it? We good? All right, everybody, let's give me a round of applause. I do want to introduce Tatiana. I didn't introduce anybody to Tatiana, so yes, say hi. So Tatiana is, yay, Sean, thank you. So Tatiana is going to be your resource locally.
Keep going a little bit further.
There you go.
Hi.
So I get to come into new markets and do the song and dance and launch new partners and find somebody to take my place, right? And so we found Tatiana quickly. And so I'm here for 2 weeks. Usually I'm here for 3 months. 2 weeks. And so she's going to be taking over. She's learning the ropes. She's learning Homeward. But what she does know is Washington real estate. She's been selling real estate out here for several years. So she's going to be a really good resource for you guys. She's going to be your go-to. Do you have your number memorized yet?
Not yet.
I'm gonna give you my phone number. If you do have any additional questions, reach out to me. And my name is Julie. My last name is Youngblood. And my phone number, it's 435-210-7300. Agents, you better listen up. That number is for you. Don't give that to buyers and sellers. Please, I'm begging you. I have thousands of agents that have my phone number. If you give it to a buyer or a seller and they call me, I won't know who you are. And that's not meant to be disrespectful. It's just that I've had buyers call me and say, yeah, Trevor told me to. Thanks, Sean.
I already said this to everybody.
Oh my God, you blasted it. Hey, guys, you guys are incredible.
I had him call you before you said anything, so that I didn't know. So
Oh, okay,
they
so
were
wow,
ready.
you were fast. Yeah, oh my gosh, they are calling me. No, and it happens where people will have they'll just give out my number and then a buyer will call and say, yeah, Trevor told me to call you. And I'm like, cool, who's Trevor? And when I don't know you, it doesn't make it look like we've got a real strong partnership, right? And so I have agents all over the country named Trevor. And I just would, I literally have to be like, okay, so who's Trevor? Cool. Okay, what state are you buying in? Okay, like it gets awkward.
I thought I was the exclusive Trevor.
You are not the only Trevor. I mean, I know 2 Alicias out here already. And we're pretty cool.
So connecting people, then we connect to Tatiana. What I have somebody speak with the law.
You want to take it? No, I like it. Take it.
You have your Homeward advisor when you set up your portal.
There you go.
So
and then we'll-
2 ways to get people connected.
Okay.
Number one is the easiest way is through your portal, right? You'll literally, you can save a website on your phone as an app. I don't know how to do that, but other people do. So you could just go to your dashboard, click, register them. Or today you're going to get an email from your Homeward advisor that's going to say, I'm your Homeward advisor. And you can literally save their phone number and you can text them and they'll hop on the phone with people and get them registered and rocking and rolling. So it should be fairly easy. It should feel a lot like when you work with a lender, right? Some lenders have, you send out their app or whatever. Us, you just go in and you register them, or you can text your Homeward advisor. Tatiana will be at a point where she's very comfortable getting on the phone with your people, and today's not the day, and bandwidth does become an issue, right? So I used to have the entire Redfin account for the country. That was an issue, right? Like people just putting, I would talk to 8 or 9 buyers a day. Like I just can't do that anymore. So the ultimate goal is that you guys get to a point where you're really comfortable and you've got such a great relationship with your advisor that you two are working really nicely together. If you do enough deals with us, I'll get you your very own lender. Right now, on the lender side, it goes into more of a round robin scenario. But if you did 3 or 4 deals with us and you're like, I love Ashley, I'd be like, all right, I think I can get you Ashley, get you hooked up so you're always with Ashley. So yeah, I mean, we want to make it work for you guys. It should feel as seamless as possible. It should feel as normal as possible. And it may not always, so it's real estate, right? I want everything to be smooth, but man, it's real estate. Cool, good question. All right, we have so much food. Will you guys please eat? Sorry, not you guys. They're still here. You guys were way over. You don't have to